What's up everyone, and welcome back to more Calamity. You know the deal. First time playing modded Terraria, jumping headfirst into Revengeance Master Mode. In it for the sick beats, boss fights, and hemorrhoid-inducing difficulty. In the last episode, I took on all of pre-hard mode, and you all seem to absolutely love it. So let's not waste any more time. Hard mode Calamity, time to meet your maker. We're cutting to the end of the last video, right after I demolished Wall of Flesh. With Calamity's changes to Hard Mode Aureus and Life Fruit, I considered jumping straight into the mines and gearing up. But first, I decided to do a quick test run against the Destroyer. I wanted to see if this mod's hard mode was really all that hard. I think that fight speaks for itself. Let's get geared. Full Cobalt, acquired. 20 Life Fruits, acquired. Pixie Wings, acquired. New sick-ass shotgun, absolutely acquired. Queen Slime, in my sights. Next, Cryogen, the first Calamity boss of hard mode. Although parts of this fight felt like a mini boss, it was still really fun. Dodging his attacks is super satisfying, and the boss music is an absolute banger. Energized by my first two victories, I figured that now was a good time to challenge my first mechanical boss. After doing a little testing, I decided that the twins were probably the easiest to start with. My weapon of choice was the Celestial Claymore, a sword that spawns stars on the player's cursor. Since all the twins do is follow you, all I had to do was aim behind me and let them run straight into a swarm of stars. Play stupid games, win stupid prizes. Well, as it turns out, I was really the one playing stupid games. Technically, only Spasmatism follows the player, while Retinazer hides out in the back. And when Spasmatism dies, Retinazer goes into phase 3. He spams lasers, fires homing missiles, and has the most inconsistent dash pattern I've ever seen. My ass cheeks were clenched for the entire last half of the fight, which, by the way, was fucking 7.5 minutes long. But don't worry, I'm not gonna hold a grudge. I wasted no time getting a full set of Orichalcum armor in my beloved Mithril Anvil. Using it, I made B-Wings, which give a permanent honey buff. I also quickly wanted to mention the Amalgamated Brain. If you ever see me get hit but not take damage, this thing is why. But enough yapping about builds. Anyone up for some sushi? Another Fire Calamity boss bites the dust. The Aquatic Scourge is the perfect evolution to the Desert Scourge for pre-hard mode, with a remixed boss theme and fun attacks to boot. Now you might have missed this little drop from the boss, the Submarine Shocker. It's a cute dagger with minimal range. Although I make a point of testing every new weapon I find, I must admit that I wasn't expecting much. It's just a dagger. How good could it really be? Oh, it seems to be a little stronger than I thought, especially against enemies that don't take knockback. Enemies that don't take... Oh, okay. Well, ladies and gentlemen, it seems we found our solution to the Destroyer problem. Now it's time for the final mechanical boss, Skeletron Prime. First, let me just show you what I have to contend with. Yep, you're seeing that right. Skeletron Prime spawns another boss when it gets to 75% health. I genuinely cannot justify this from a game design perspective. I don't understand how anyone can think, how should I make this boss harder? Oh, I know, I should make him spawn another fucking boss. Like what? And get this, it's not just the Destroyer. At 50%, Prime spawns the twins too, meaning that you'll be fighting all 3 mechanical bosses at once. It doesn't matter that they both despawn at 75% or the fact that I've beaten them already. It's still absolutely ridiculous. But I knew whining wouldn't solve anything. I needed to suck it up and get good. And after dozens of attempts over several hours, I did.
Oh my god. Holy fucking shit. That fight is so hard. Oh my god. I literally died at the fucking Oh my god. This mod is fucking ridiculous. Dude, if these bosses get harder than that, I'm fucked.
If you couldn't tell, I was getting a little worried about the mod's difficulty. Skeletron Prime was the first boss of the entire playthrough that had really tested my skill, and I still felt like I had barely dipped my toes in a hard mode. Although I felt a little better after popping a Blood Orange, upgrading to Angel Treads, Hallowed Armor, and a True Knight's Edge, given that the next boss held the namesake of the final boss, I was still expecting to get tossed. But I could have never predicted what happened next.
Get boxed, buddy! Get boxed! Get fucking boxed! Get boxed!
You'll have to excuse my rather intense reaction. After dying endlessly to Skeletron Prime for a day and a half, I one-attempted Calamitas Clone, with no buffs, no prep, and only getting hit once. Regardless of how easy that fight might have been, it restored my confidence, and after obliterating Plantera in a similarly quick fashion, my concerns about lacking skill disappeared, for better or for worse. Before taking on Anahita and the Leviathan, I thought that now would be a good time to get a new pair of wings. I summoned a Solar Eclipse, and after a few Mothron kills, I got her wings, as well as this rusty little sword. Sorry, Anahita, your song's beautiful, but my Terrablade's hungry.
Can we kill the siren, please? Thanks. G. Dude, that was actually fun. I like that fight.
Gotta say, I was not expecting a massive fucking whale to appear on my screen during that fight. And no, that is not a Leviathan, that's a fucking whale. By the way, this was my initial reaction when I fought the boss for the first time.
Hello? What the fuck?
What the hell?
Bro, that was the last thing I was expecting from this fight.
But while we're on the topic of massive fucking animals, let's talk about Astrum Aureus. He's basically Crabulon if he was made out of extraterrestrial metal and did 300 contact damage.
Oh my god. Come on. Live. Holy. This is not great. This is not great. This is suboptimal. Die. Yes. Dude, I almost threw so fucking hard.
Although Aureus didn't drop much in the way of useful weapons, he did drop a very sexy consumable that permanently buffed my adrenaline and damage reduction. I also took this opportunity to craft the Asgard's Valor, which allows the player to dash directly through enemies and bosses. It was at this point that something was beginning to feel off. Ever since Skeletron Prime, I was taking down bosses with very minimal stress. Sure, it occasionally took a few attempts to learn their attack patterns, but with buffs, a good arena, and a little bit of luck, they all went down without much of a fight.
Easy. No buffs, first attempt.
But I brushed off these worries. Maybe I just underestimated my skill, I thought, ignoring my sense of unease. Whatever, I'll worry about it after I beat Golem. I'll be the first to admit, I don't like vanilla Golem. He's probably my least favorite boss in the entire game. But maybe the Calamity devs reworked him into the best boss?
How on earth am I supposed to dodge all that?
No, they did not. In fact, they somehow made him worse. Not only did they keep the enclosed arena, but they also made him fire way more projectiles, some of which linger for half the fight. Not to mention the absurd lifetime of fireballs, the ridiculous amount of health and armor, and the fact that you still have to run through the entire jungle temple for every attempt. This was what my gut was trying to tell me. How could I have been so blind? So foolish? The Eater of Worlds, mechanical bosses, and now Golem. Skeletron Prime should have set off an alarm, but my victories had blinded me from the truth. That the Calamity devs are seemingly incapable of redesigning a vanilla boss. And you want to know what's even worse? I was debating making an edit of the winning Golem fight, but it was actually so boring that it wasn't even worth the time or effort to do that. Literally all I did for the entire fight was circle around Golem for 3 minutes, spamming my bloody cleaver until he died. How absolutely riveting. What a fucking waste of time. But I had learned my lesson. I needed to compensate for my lacking skill with the best gear I could get my hands on. For Plaguebringer Goliath, I made sure to fully kit myself out, with full hydrothermic armor, miracle fruit, and Hadal mantle wings. And it was absolutely worth the effort.
This fight is fucking awesome, but oh my god, is it hard.
Although Goliath restored a bit of my faith in the Calamity devs, in spite of my best efforts, my struggles with vanilla bosses returned. The Lunatic Cultist fight ended up being one of the most infuriating gaming experiences that I've ever had. In addition to super buffed attacks, his ritual now always spawns something, regardless of whether or not you attack the right clone. Which, in my opinion, is an absolutely fucking brilliant game design decision. What a great change to an already fucking wonderful boss. Good job, devs. But I was going to see this fight through no matter what. Despite how much I hated fighting Fishron, I beat him 3 more times for the Brawny Baron, which he never dropped. I tried crafting new weapons, like the Fallen Paladin's hammer, but it did fuck all damage. I even went through the trouble of looking at my recordings to see if I could dodge any better, and I physically couldn't. All I could do was attempt the fight over and over, hoping that there would be one blessed run that I wouldn't throw. +80 attempts on the most asinine boss ever conceived. Fuck Lunatic Cultist. You know what? I'm done. I'm done putting up with all this bullshit. The challenges that I've overcome, bullshit I've endured, and the frustration I've felt. None of it matters now. All that stands between me and the end of hard mode is a single boss. Bring it on, Moon Lord.